The first muzzle flash cuts through the Sonoran night like lightning, not the random spray of amateur gunmen, but the controlled warning of a former Marine Scout sniper. By the time the Sinaloa splinter faction realizes what they've stumbled into, 3 defensive positions are already activated around the property with military precision. Isabella Reyes stands at her cabin window, weathered hands steady as she watches her training take effect. The cartel came to intimidate a lone woman, to threaten her home and claim her land for their smuggling corridor. Instead, they've walked into the killing ground of SOCOM's legendary shadow operative and the security system she designed to neutralize threats with ruthless efficiency. What unfolds over the next 72 hours becomes whispered legend among border criminals. How a retired Marine and her advanced security network systematically dismantled a cartel operation that had terrorized the region for years. No backup, no tactical teams. Just a woman who spent 22 years perfecting the art of asymmetrical warfare and her carefully planned countermeasures, executing the strategies that made her feared by warlords and traffickers alike. Dawn breaks over. Copper Canyon Ranch, painting the Arizona sky in streaks of crimson and gold. Bella Reyes moves with deliberate steps across her property, checking motion sensors and camera feeds. At 52, her body carries the weight of multiple combat tours, but her movements remain purposeful, efficient. 3 security zones fan out around her modest homestead, Echo, Sierra, and Tango, their sophisticated surveillance equipment alert to every sound, every movement carried on the morning breeze. Bella activates her tablet, entering a command sequence with practiced precision. The property's integrated security system immediately responds, camera feeds rotating in synchronized patterns to scan different approaches. 22 years in Marine Force Recon and later Special Operations has forged a connection between warrior and technology that transcends ordinary security measures. This isn't a typical home security setup. It's a comprehensive defensive network. Clear the perimeter, Bella commands quietly into her communications device. The system responds instantly, initiating a full-spectrum scan of the property boundaries, searching for any anomalies or unauthorized presences. Each zone takes a different section of the fence line, running diagnostics with the disciplined precision that had once made them the nightmare of insurgents and traffickers across contested territories. Bella's encrypted phone buzzes to life. Morning, Shadow. Only a handful of people still use her old call sign, Commander Torres, former MARSOC teammate now working border security coordination. Morning, Marco. Little early for a social call. Wish it was social. Garcia's vineyard got hit last night, 30 acres of vines destroyed, 3rd property this month. Bella's jaw tightens as she watches the Eastern security feed show clear readings. Sinaloa splinter faction. They're getting bold, moving further north. Word is they're establishing new routes through Copper Canyon. Any property that doesn't cooperate gets a visit. They haven't been out this far before. They are now. Thought. You should know. Your ranch sits on a prime corridor. Bella ends the call, slipping the phone back into her pocket. The cartel's expansion isn't surprising. What's surprising is how openly they're operating. Destroying crops isn't just vandalism, it's a message. Cooperate or lose, more than just your livelihood. The security system alerts with a soft tone, drawing Bella's attention to her tablet. Zone Echo has detected an anomaly, unusual electromagnetic. Signatures indicating active scanning equipment had recently been used near her eastern boundary. The system's behavior signals not just detection, but analysis, correlating the signatures with known cartel reconnaissance patterns. "Good catch," Bella murmurs, her fingers tracing the alert pattern. She initiates a countermeasure protocol, activating signal jammers that would prevent any further scanning of her property's defenses. The system processes her commands with the efficiency of something designed for combat operations, not civilian security. Bella surveys her land from the elevated position of her cabin porch. The 10-acre property doesn't look extraordinary to casual observers. A modest home nestled against the foothills, surrounded by native vegetation and what appears to be standard fencing. But appearances are deliberately deceiving. Nearly every feature of Copper Canyon Ranch has been strategically designed. The native plants conceal motion sensors. The decorative stone arrangements house thermal cameras. The rustic fence posts contain vibration detectors, old habits from a life where vigilance meant survival. Inside her cabin, Bella checks her security feeds, cameras strategically placed throughout the property, their presence disguised as ordinary fixtures. Technology has advanced since her special operations days, but the principles remain the same: awareness, preparation, response. A truck approaches on the dusty access road, familiar enough that the security system merely flags it as a recognized visitor rather than a potential threat. Elena Sandoval, neighbor from the adjacent property, pulls up in a cloud of dust. Her face bears the weathered lines of generations of borderland ranchers, skin tanned dark from decades under the Arizona sun. "Bella," Elena nods, climbing down from her truck. "Heard about Garcia?" Word travels fast. Small community, smaller when trouble comes. Elena removes her hat, wiping sweat from her brow. "Sheriff's useless. Says it's federal jurisdiction. Feds say they need more evidence. Meanwhile, we're sitting ducks." Bella studies her neighbor. Elena represents most of the landowners in Copper Canyon. Hard-working, honest, but unprepared for the calculated violence of cartel business. "Have you been approached yet?" Bella asks. Elena looks away, her discomfort obvious. "Last week, 2 men in a black SUV, very polite. Suggested I might want to rent part of my south pasture. Said they'd pay cash. I'd never see what comes through." She pauses. "When I refused, they mentioned how unfortunate ranch accidents can be." Bella nods, processing this information with the methodical analysis that once made her exceptional at intelligence assessment. "The others?" "Most are scared. Williams already agreed. Peterson's considering it. They threatened his daughter." The security system chimes softly, alerting Bella that Zone Sierra has detected movement. A coyote passing through. Nothing concerning. The alert's precision seems to unnerve Elena, who glances around with uncertainty. "Still can't get used to how everything works around here," Elena mutters. "Like your place knows who belongs and who doesn't." "It does," Bella says simply. Elena shifts uncomfortably. "They say you trained security systems for the government, that they can detect a hostile approach from a mile away and identify weapons without line of sight." Bella doesn't confirm or deny. Her reputation in the canyon exists in whispers and speculation. Most know she served in the Marines. Few understand exactly what her role entailed. "Listen, Bella, these cartel people, they're not like the traffickers we dealt with in the past. They're organized, well-funded, the sheriff's out of his depth." Elena hesitates. "I'm just saying maybe we should consider their offer. Live to fight another day." Bella's expression remains impassive. "That's not how it works, Elena. You give them access, they own you. Today it's a pasture. Tomorrow it's your house, your family." Elena looks down. I've got grandchildren to think about. So do I, Bella replies. That's why I don't intend to let them get a foothold here. After Eleanor leaves, Bella returns to her daily routine, but her mind is calculating, assessing. Her security system responds to her changed energy state, running more frequent perimeter checks and focusing on approach vectors most likely to be used by hostile forces. Mid-afternoon brings another vehicle winding up the driveway. Captain James Rivera, Jim to most people, has been supporting Bella's security operations since she moved to the canyon. One of the few people who understands what her systems are capable of. Brought those components you ordered, he calls, stepping down from his SUV. At 48, Jim carries himself with the confidence of someone comfortable in both military and civilian worlds. Heard about Garcia? You think it'll escalate? Bella helps him unload supplies. It already has. They're making their move on the canyon. Jim glances toward the seemingly ordinary fence line that surrounds the property. They have no idea what they'd be walking into here. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Bella's voice carries a weight that suggests she's already preparing for exactly that scenario. As Jim helps her install upgraded motion sensors, dust clouds appear on the horizon. 3 vehicles moving fast along the main road that passes near. The ranch, not local traffic. The pattern of movement, the tactical spacing between vehicles, triggers old instincts in Bella. Get inside, she tells Jim, her tone leaving no room for argument. The security system immediately shifts to heightened alert, security zones activating advanced monitoring protocols without any audible command from Bella. The transformation is immediate and striking, from passive surveillance to active threat assessment. This is what it can really do, isn't it? Jim asks quietly, watching the system deploy its full capabilities. Part of it, Bella acknowledges. Let's hope they don't need to demonstrate the rest. The vehicles slow as they pass the ranch entrance. 2 black SUVs flanking a luxury sedan with tinted windows. They don't stop, but their message is clear. We're here. We're watching. We know where you are. Zone Tango sends an alert to Bella's tablet, indicating it has captured license plate information and facial recognition images of the passengers through polarized glass. Capabilities far beyond civilian security systems. I know, Bella murmurs, reviewing the data. They'll be back. That evening, Bella sits on her porch cleaning her custom M40A6 sniper rifle as darkness settles over the canyon. The radio beside her crackles with chatter between neighboring ranches, a community-wide alert system established years ago. Movement at the Peterson place, a voice reports. Black SUVs again. Another voice cuts in. William says they're demanding more access, taking over his equipment barn. Bella listens, her hands never pausing in their methodical work. The pattern is textbook cartel expansion. Establish presence, intimidate locals, escalate demands, punish resistance. She's seen it play out across border communities for decades. Her phone buzzes with a text from Marco. They're asking questions about you. Be careful. The security system continues its silent vigilance, each zone processing environmental data, with algorithms designed to distinguish between ordinary desert activities and potential threats. To casual observation, Copper Canyon Ranch appears quiet and vulnerable. Bella knows better. Every approach is monitored, every sound analyzed, every heat signature categorized. A distant engine sound causes all 3 security zones to simultaneously flag an alert. Headlights appear, moving slowly, too slowly for normal traffic. Reconnaissance. Bella doesn't reach for her weapon, doesn't activate additional security measures. Instead, she continues cleaning her rifle, presenting the picture of a lone woman enjoying the evening, unaware and unprepared. The vehicle, a black SUV with Mexican plates, passes by slowly, windows lowered just enough for the occupants to observe the ranch house. They see exactly what Bella wants them to see: an isolated property, an aging woman, what appears to be minimal security. What they don't see is Zone Echo's electromagnetic sensors mapping their communications equipment. They don't recognize Zone Sierra's subsonic scanning, identifying the weapons concealed in their vehicle. They don't notice Zone Tango's facial recognition, silently cataloging each occupant against known cartel databases. The SUV continues down the road, apparently satisfied with their initial assessment. Bella resumes her evening routine, but her mind is already planning 3 steps ahead. They've started their surveillance. The next step will be contact, then pressure, then threats. The cartel follows predictable patterns because those patterns usually work. But Copper Canyon Ranch isn't a usual target, and Isabella Reyes isn't a usual landowner. After a lifetime of countering insurgencies and dismantling trafficking networks, she's about to demonstrate why special operators once feared the mere mention of the shadow operative and her security systems. The night deepens around Copper Canyon Ranch, and Bella makes her preparations. The cartel has made its first move. Tomorrow, she'll make hers. The shadow operative morning arrives at Copper Canyon Ranch with the harsh clarity unique to the Arizona desert. Bella completes her pre-dawn security check, a habit ingrained through decades of military service. Her tablet displays feeds from each zone as she systematically reviews the property's defensive posture, the technology responding with the seamless efficiency of systems designed for combat operations. Bella pauses at the eastern boundary, crouching to examine fresh tire tracks cutting across the access road. Someone had parked here during the night, watching the ranch house. Zone Echo confirms her suspicion, providing detailed analysis of engine resonance patterns and electromagnetic emissions, distinctly cartel signatures based on previously catalogued data. They're moving faster than I expected, Bella mutters, rising as she brushes dust from her tactical pants. The security system processes her observation, automatically adjusting threat assessment timelines and recalculating response protocols. The sun crests the distant mountains, casting long shadows across the canyon. Bella's encrypted phone vibrates with an incoming transmission. "Bella, you copy?" Eleanor's voice strained with urgency. "Go ahead. They're on their way to you. 3 vehicles just left my place heading north on the canyon road. They asked specific questions about you and your property." Bella checks her watch. Not even 7 a.m. The cartel representatives are making a statement with this early visit, demonstrating control of the situation, catching targets unprepared. "Thanks for the warning," Bella responds, already moving toward the ranch house. "Stay clear, Elena." Inside, Bella activates full defensive protocols with a series of commands on her central control panel. Zone designations shift from passive surveillance to active countermeasure preparation. Not obvious security measures that would alert intruders, but subtle system adjustments, camera angles optimizing facial recognition, subsonic sensors boosting sensitivity, signal jammers standing by. "Echo, Sierra, Tango, condition yellow," she commands. The system acknowledges with a soft tone, threat assessment elevated to the second tier of Bella's 5-tier security framework. She positions herself on the front porch, pouring a cup of coffee from her thermos, presenting the image of a rancher starting her day. The M40A6 rifle is strategically placed inside, within reach through the front window, but not visible to approaching visitors. The vehicles appear exactly as Elena described. Two black SUVs flanking a luxury sedan. They drive directly to the house, with no pretense of hesitation or uncertainty. They know what property they're targeting. 5 men emerge. Bella catalogues them with practiced efficiency. 3 obvious security, former military from their bearing. Weapons poorly concealed beneath tailored jackets. The 4th, the driver, stays with the vehicles, hand resting casually near his waistband. The 5th man emerges from the sedan. Expensive suit, polished appearance, the confidence of someone accustomed to being obeyed. "Good morning," the suited man calls out in accented English, approaching the porch with a practiced smile. "Ms. Reyes, I presume. My name is Javier Mendoza. I was hoping we might have a conversation about business opportunities." Bella sips her coffee, making no move to stand. "Pretty early for business calls, Mr. Mendoza?" "Ambitious men start their days early," Mendoza replies smoothly, reaching the bottom of the porch steps. He gestures toward the property. "Beautiful ranch you have here, prime location. It serves its purpose." Mendoza maintains his smile, but his eyes continuously scan the property, noting sightlines, access points, potential defensive positions. His security personnel have spread out slightly, maintaining professional distance while establishing tactical positioning. "May I?" Mendoza gestures to the porch steps. Bella nods once, her tablet positioned casually on the side table. Security. Feeds visible only from her angle. "I represent investment interests looking to establish transportation corridors through this region," Mendoza begins, remaining on the lower steps rather than fully ascending to the porch. "Your property occupies a strategic position that would be valuable to our operation. We're prepared to offer $75,000 for monthly use of your southern access route. Cash, of course." Bella studies Mendoza carefully. The offer is substantially higher than what they've likely proposed to other ranchers, an indication they recognize something different about Copper Canyon Ranch. "That's generous. Why my property specifically?" Mendoza gestures expansively. "Location primarily. Your ranch connects several key transit points. Additionally, you operate independently. No family living on site, minimal staff. Discretion is important in business." The subtext is clear. You're isolated, vulnerable, with no one to protect you. "I value my privacy," Bella says. "Not interested in the complications your business would bring." Mendoza's smile tightens fractionally. "I'm afraid you misunderstand. Ms. Reyes, the situation in Copper Canyon is changing. Progress, you might say. You can benefit from these changes," or he allows the implication to hang in the air. As if on cue, one of the security men moves closer to the barn, ostensibly examining the structure, but clearly assessing its security. Zone Sierra registers the movement, silently tracking the intrusion, and preparing countermeasures should he breach established parameters. "That's far enough," Bella calls out, her voice carrying unexpected authority. The man pauses, looking to Mendoza for direction. "My colleague is merely admiring your operation," Mendoza says smoothly. "I understand you maintain a modest homestead here. It would be unfortunate if anything happened to your property. The threat lands exactly as intended." Bella sets down her coffee cup, the casual atmosphere evaporating. Mr. Mendoza, I spent 22 years with Marine Special Operations. I recognize cartel tactics when I see them. Your organization has threatened my neighbors, destroyed property, and now you're threatening my home. I'm not interested in your offer. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Mendoza's expression hardens, the veneer of business professionalism cracking. You seem well-informed, Ms. Reyes, but perhaps not well-informed enough. Do you know what happens to those who refuse our generous offers? Do you know what happens to those who threaten me on my property? The tension hangs in the air between them. One of the security men reaches beneath his jacket, a motion so subtle most would miss it. Bella doesn't move, doesn't react, but her security system does. A high-pitched tone emanates from the man's pocket. His communication device suddenly overloading from a targeted electromagnetic pulse. The security man freezes, hand still beneath his jacket. I wouldn't, Bella advises quietly. My security system is programmed to neutralize communications equipment first. Then weapons systems, anything with an electronic signature. Your fancy car out there? It would take about 3 seconds to render it inoperable. As if understanding the conversation, Zone Echo activates a subtle display of capability. The security lights around the property perimeter cycling once in synchronized pattern, a demonstration of integrated control. Automated security, Mendoza observes, genuine unease crossing his features as he recognizes technology beyond standard ranch protection. Something like that? Bella replies. Mr. Mendoza, I'll say this once, take your business elsewhere. My property is not available, not for $75,000, not for $750,000. Mendoza studies Bella, reassessing the situation. Your neighbors mentioned you were different, that you had special training, special security measures. Perhaps we should have approached differently. Perhaps you shouldn't have approached at all. The security personnel look increasingly uncomfortable, eyes tracking the subtle security indicators now visible around the property, while hands hover near concealed weapons. The standoff stretches until Mendoza finally nods, stepping back. We'll be in touch, Ms. Reyes. The offer remains open. Consider carefully. You're one woman with some fancy technology. We are many, with resources you can't imagine. I can imagine. Oh, quite a bit, Bella replies evenly. Zone Delta Escort Protocol. The command activates a subtle but unmistakable security response. Motion-activated lights illuminate the path back to their vehicles, while subsonic sensors track their every movement. The message is clear. Their departure is being managed with the same precision as their arrival. Mendoza's eyes narrow at this display of technological control, understanding dawning that this is not an ordinary rural security system. As the cartel vehicles pull away, Bella remains on the porch, watching until they disappear from sight. Only then does she tap her tablet, bringing up the full security dashboard. Condition orange, she commands. The system responds immediately, elevating to the 3rd tier of her security framework. Additional sensors activate, defensive countermeasures move to standby status, and automated alert protocols prepare for potential incursion. Bella reviews the facial recognition results from the encounter. Javier Mendoza, mid-level lieutenant in the Sinaloa splinter faction, connected to at least 7 enforcement operations along the border. His security detail, all former Mexican special forces with combat experience and specialized training. Not random thugs, but professional operators. She accesses her secure database, adding the new intelligence to existing cartel mapping. The visit confirms patterns she's been tracking since moving to the canyon: systematic expansion into new territories, escalating pressure tactics, professional enforcement teams. Mid-morning brings another vehicle approaching, this one broadcasting. A friendly IFF signature recognized by her security system. Captain Rivera's SUV pulls up, his expression serious as he exits. "Heard you had visitors," he says without preamble. Word travels fast. Small community. Jim follows her into the house. "Elena called me, said Mendoza himself made an appearance." He did. Inside, Bella activates her tactical display, bringing up the morning's security footage. Jim watches the encounter with professional assessment. Mendoza's not just any cartel operative, he notes. Former Mexican intelligence before he flipped. He handles special acquisitions for Vicente Rojas. The name triggers Bella's attention. Rojas is involved personally. Intelligence indicates he's overseeing this expansion himself. Copper Canyon is becoming a priority corridor. This information transforms the tactical calculus. Vicente Rojas, regional commander for the Splinter faction, known for both strategic thinking and brutal enforcement. His personal involvement indicates the canyon represents something more significant than routine smuggling routes. They offered more than they've offered others, Bella observes. Specifically mentioned my southern access route. It's not just about transportation, Jim confirms, lowering his voice despite the secure environment. Word is, they're establishing staging areas, distribution points. Your property has natural defensive features, concealed approaches, perfect for their purposes. Bella processes this intelligence, understanding the implications. The cartel isn't just seeking passage rights. They want her entire property as an operational base. The excessive offer is merely the opening move in a planned acquisition. They'll be back, Jim says, stating the obvious. Tonight, probably. First warning to show they're serious. I know. Bella pulls up her property's defensive schematic. I'll be ready. As dusk approaches, Bella makes final security preparations. Each zone transitions to nighttime operations, thermal imaging replacing standard cameras, acoustic sensors boosting sensitivity to compensate for reduced visibility. She secures potential entry points, activates perimeter alerts, and positions equipment where she can access it quickly. The community radio network between ranches has gone quiet, an ominous sign. Either the neighbors are frightened into silence, or the cartel has begun restricting communications. Bella settles on the porch as darkness envelops the ranch, her rifle positioned strategically beside her chair. The tablet displays condensed security feeds, while her earpiece provides real-time updates from the system's AI analysis. To casual observation, it might appear she's simply enjoying the evening. In reality, every sense is attuned to the environment, every muscle ready to respond. The first indication comes just after midnight, a perimeter sensor triggered on the southern boundary. The silent alert flashes on Bella's tablet. Zone Echo. Motion detected approximately 500 meters south. 3 thermal signatures approaching with tactical spacing. Time to work, Bella murmurs, tapping her tablet to acknowledge the alert. The security system shifts to full defensive posture, condition red, while maintaining complete stealth. No visible lighting changes, no obvious security measures, just heightened sensitivity and target acquisition. Zone Sierra, identify and track. Zone Tango, countermeasures on standby. Bella positions herself with clear sight lines to the southern approach. watching through thermal imaging as three figures make their way toward the barn. The cartel has made its first enforcement move. Tonight, they'll learn why the shadow operative earned her reputation and why her security systems were feared by every hostile force she encountered. The shadow operative. The three figures move with practiced stealth toward Bella's barn, their approach careful but confident. Night vision equipment gives them a technological advantage they believe will ensure success in their mission. They carry specialized tools, bolt cutters, accelerants, timing devices, not guns. Their objective isn't theft, but destruction, a punitive message. Bella watches through her thermal imaging system, noting their formation and equipment. These aren't common thugs. They move with military discipline, maintaining proper spacing, checking sight lines. The cartel has sent professionals for even this warning mission. Property is the target, Bella whispers into her communications unit. Zone Sierra, acoustic monitoring. Zone Tango, prepare countermeasures. The security system processes her commands instantly. Acoustic sensors boost sensitivity, capturing the faint metallic sound of equipment being readied. Countermeasure systems shift to standby status, prepared to deploy on her command, or automatically if predefined threat parameters are exceeded. The intruders reach the barn door, working methodically to defeat the padlock. They don't realize the structure is under surveillance from multiple angles, or that the ordinary-looking farm building has been reinforced to Bella's exacting specifications. As they slip inside, Bella gives a silent command through her tablet. Interface, Zone Delta, active surveillance. Inside the barn, hidden cameras activate, providing Bella with clear imagery of the intruder's actions. They move directly toward the equipment storage area, retrieving accelerant containers from specialized packs. Their intention becomes clear. They plan to burn the barn as their opening statement. Preparing for incendiary deployment, one operative whispers in Spanish to the others. Primary target is the equipment. Secondary structure ignition once the accelerant is placed. Bella's system translates the audio in real time, text appearing on her tablet. The intelligence confirms her assessment. This is a standard cartel warning, destruction of property as a demonstration of vulnerability. Zone Tango, execute containment protocol, Bella commands. Non-lethal response authorized. The security system acknowledges with a single tone in her earpiece. Inside the barn, the first phase of her countermeasures activates. The main doors silently lock through remotely activated magnetic systems. Simultaneously, specialized ventilation fans engage, creating a subtle negative pressure environment that would contain any accelerant fumes or smoke. "What's that sound?" one intruder asks, hearing the barely perceptible hum of the ventilation. "System. Probably just farm equipment," another replies, continuing to spread accelerant across the floor. Bella watches them work, her expression calm as she prepares the next phase of her response. These men expect to execute a simple warning, action without resistance. They have no concept of the security infrastructure they've triggered. Preparing primary ignition, the lead operative announces, producing an electronic timing device. Zone Echo, communications blackout, Bella commands. The security system immediately generates a localized electromagnetic field, disabling electronics to devices within the barn's perimeter. The timing device in the operative's hand goes dark, its LED display fading to black. "What the hell?" he mutters, smacking the device against his palm. My radio's dead too, another operative reports, tension rising in his voice. The third man, more experienced than his companions, recognizes the implications immediately. This isn't right. We need to abort. He moves toward the door, finding it secured. Pulling harder, he realizes it's been locked remotely. It's a trap. Find another exit. Bella rises from her observation position, moving with the fluid efficiency of someone who has spent decades in combat operations. She approaches the barn not with reckless confrontation, but with tactical discipline, rifle secured but accessible, sidearm drawn but not raised unnecessarily. Zone Sierra, exterior illumination on my mark, she commands. The operatives inside grow increasingly agitated, searching for alternative exits, finding each one systematically secured. The accelerant they've spread now represents a hazard to themselves. The fumes contained by the negative pressure system. There's another door on the west side, one calls out, moving toward it. Zone Tango, tactical deployment, Bella commands, approaching the western door from outside. As the operative reaches for the exit, the lights activate around the entire barn perimeter. Not blinding floodlights that would create sharp shadows, but strategically positioned illumination that eliminates hiding places and creates perfect visibility for Bella while creating disorientation for those inside. The operative pulls open the door, expecting darkness, finding himself instead perfectly illuminated and facing Bella, her stance calm but unmistakably prepared. Federal agents are inbound, she states evenly, though it's a calculated bluff. Your communications are jammed, your exit routes are monitored, and your mission is compromised. You have one opportunity to surrender. The operative freezes, assessing his options with professional calculation. Behind him, his companions realize the severity of their situation, trapped in a building filled with flammable materials, electronic devices disabled, facing an opponent who has systematically neutralized their operation within minutes of their arrival. Who are you? The lead operative demands, reaching slowly toward his concealed weapon. Zone Echo, targeted response, Bella commands. Before the man can draw his weapon, a focused electromagnetic pulse disables the firing mechanism, a specialized countermeasure Bella developed during her final years in special operations designed to neutralize electronic firing systems without affecting surrounding equipment. The operative pulls the trigger repeatedly, meeting only mechanical clicks. Bella remains calm, her weapon still not raised aggressively. As I said, one opportunity to surrender. The calculation shifts visibly in the men's expressions. What should have been a simple warning operation has transformed into a tactically untenable situation. Their equipment neutralized, their exit compromised, facing an opponent with capabilities far beyond what they were briefed to expect. This property is protected, Bella informs them. So are the others in Copper Canyon. Your organization's expansion stops here. The lead operative makes his decision, placing his disabled weapon slowly on the ground. His companions, seeing no alternative, follow suit. Mendoza will know, he states, a final attempt at intimidation. I'm counting on it, Bella replies. Within 30 minutes, Sheriff Delgado arrives with 2 deputies. The local law enforcement maintains jurisdiction over property crimes, even if they lack resources for the broader cartel problem. Delgado surveys the scene with professional assessment, noting the contained accelerant, the disabled equipment, the secured operatives. Found these men attempting to burn down my barn, Bella reports formally. I detained them pending your arrival. Delgado raises an eyebrow at what must have been a significantly more complex encounter than this clinical description suggests. The operatives bear no injuries, but their expressions reflect men who have experienced something profoundly unsettling. Sheriff Delgado examines their identification with growing concern. Special operations team, based on their equipment. He turns to Bella. You want to tell me how one woman managed to detain 3 cartel operatives without firing a shot? Bella glances toward her tablet where security feeds continue to monitor the property. Had some help from my security system. That's not just a security system, Delgado presses, lowering his voice. I was Army before law enforcement. I recognize specialized countermeasures when I see them. It's whatever it needs to be, Bella answers simply. Once the sheriff's vehicles depart with the prisoners, Bella conducts a thorough security sweep of her property. The night's events have confirmed her suspicions. The cartel's interest in her ranch goes beyond routine smuggling operations. Captain Rivera arrives mid-morning, his expression grim. Heard about last night. You okay? Fine. Property's secure. Jim follows Bella to the security room concealed within the ranch house, a space that would surprise anyone who saw only the rustic exterior of the building. Multiple monitors display camera feeds from across the property. Communications equipment more sophisticated than most police departments occupies one wall. They hit Williams and Peterson too, Jim reports. Williams lost his irrigation system. Peterson's truck was torched, coordinated strikes, testing defenses, Bella notes, establishing dominance. You're the only one who came out ahead. Jim studies the security footage from the previous night. They won't take that well. I'm counting on it. Jim gives Bella a sharp look. You want them to escalate? That's a dangerous game with these people. No game. Bella brings up satellite imagery of the region on one of her monitors. The cartel's moving into Copper Canyon with purpose. This isn't just about smuggling routes. They're establishing infrastructure, processing facilities, distribution hubs, command centers. My ranch sits at a key junction with natural defensive positions and clear sightlines. Perfect for their purposes. You think they selected your property specifically? Bella nods. The intelligence they had was too precise. Someone gave them detailed information about the ranch, the layout, the access routes. But not about you, Jim observes. That's what I need to find out. Bella brings up personnel files on several cartel members. I need everything you can get me on Mendoza and his operation. Command structure, tactical resources, known associates. Jim studies his old friend carefully. You're preparing for more than just defense, aren't you? I'm preparing to end this, Bella confirms, before anyone else in the canyon gets hurt. The conversation is interrupted by an alert from the perimeter system, vehicles approaching from the main road. Bella switches to the appropriate camera feed, revealing Elena's pickup truck. She isn't alone. 3 other local landowners accompany her, their expressions revealing a mixture of fear and determination as they approach the house. They're mobilizing, Bella observes. Bella meets them on the porch, her tablet displaying security feeds, but angled away from her visitors. Besides Elena, she recognizes James Peterson, whose truck was burned, Ronald Taylor from the Eastern Canyon, and Michael Foster, one of the few landowners who had openly resisted cartel pressures. Heard what happened last night? Elena begins, without preamble. Word is, you captured some of Rojas's men. Bella simply nods, assessing the group. We need help. Peterson says. The burns on his hands, testament to his efforts to save his vehicle. Sheriff's overwhelmed. Feds are nowhere to be seen. Meanwhile, the cartel's picking us off one by one. What exactly are you asking for? Bella inquires, though she already suspects the answer. Foster steps forward. Train us. Show us how to protect our properties like you protected yours. Bella considers the request carefully. These aren't soldiers. They're farmers, ranchers, civilians who've been thrust into a conflict they never sought. It's not just about training, she explains. It's about coordination, intelligence, preparation. Then teach us that too, Elena insists. We've worked this land for generations. We're not giving it up without a fight. Before Bella can respond, Jim emerges from the house, his expression urgent. Sorry to interrupt, but you need to see this. Inside the security room, Jim brings up intercepted communications, another advantage of Bella's sophisticated setup. The messages are encoded, but the pattern is unmistakable to those with military experience. They're bringing in heavy assets. Jim translates grimly, specialist teams from Culiacan. These aren't just enforcers, they're their elite squads. Bella studies the communication patterns. Timeline, 24 hours, maybe less. The ranchers exchange worried glances. The reality of what they're facing becoming clearer. This is because of what happened last night, Elena realizes. They're escalating because you fought back. They're escalating because that was always the plan, Bella corrects her. Last night just accelerated their timeline. Bella makes a decision, one that goes against her natural inclination toward self-reliance. These people need help, and she has the knowledge to provide it. Moreover, a coordinated community response would be more effective than isolated resistance. I'll help you, she tells the ranchers, but understand, this isn't about fighting the cartel directly. It's about making your properties secure enough that they look elsewhere. The relief on their faces is palpable. Bella begins outlining basic security measures, strategic lighting, communication protocols, coordinated response plans. It's a crash course in techniques she spent decades perfecting, simplified for civilian application. As the ranchers depart with new purpose, Jim pulls Bella aside. You know this makes you an even bigger target, right? Organizing resistance against the cartel? I became the primary target the moment I captured their men, Bella responds. At least now the community has a chance. While Bella works with the local ranchers, the cartel regroups in a luxury estate 30 miles south of the border. Javier Mendoza faces Vicente Rojas, the regional commander of the Splinter faction's operations. Explain to me, Rojas says with dangerous calm, how 3 of our best operatives were captured by one middle-aged woman and her security system. Mendoza chooses his words carefully, aware that failures in the organization are often addressed permanently. Reyes is not what she appears. She's former Marine Special Operations, specialized in counterinsurgency. Her reputation... I don't care about her reputation, Rojas interrupts. I care about results. Copper Canyon is critical to our northern distribution network. We've invested millions in this expansion. We've secured most of the territory, Mendoza reminds him. Reyes is an isolated problem, a problem that is now organizing the other ranches, Rojas counters, tossing surveillance photos across the desk. The images show Bella meeting with neighboring ranchers. She's becoming a symbol of resistance, unacceptable. Mendoza nods in agreement. I've already called in the cazadores. This gives Rojas pause. The cazadores? The hunters. the cartel's specialized strike team, former Mexican Special Forces soldiers who have brought military precision to cartel operations. The full team, 4 operators plus tactical support, Mendoza confirms. They're preparing now. Rojas considers this. Reyes seems to have military-grade security. How confident are you in the intelligence? We've had her property under satellite surveillance for a week. We've mapped every approach, identified blind spots in her security. The cazadores will have everything they need. And her systems? The team is bringing appropriate countermeasures. Murmurs of acknowledgement filter through the communication network. These civilians have shown remarkable adaptation to crisis, a resilience Bella recognizes from conflict zones around the world. If you must defend, she continues, use the fallback positions we established. Concentrate on delaying actions until support can arrive. What about you? Elena asks, concern evident in her voice. Bella pauses, measuring her response. I'll handle my property. Focus on yours. After the briefing, Bella conducts final system checks. Her defensive network has been continuously evolving since the first encounter, anticipating escalating threats. New countermeasures have been deployed, backup systems established, redundancies built into critical components. Jim arrives as evening approaches, carrying specialized equipment from his contacts in border security. Signal jammers as requested, he says, unloading heavy cases from his vehicle. Military-grade, frequency adaptive, they'll cover the electromagnetic spectrum your system might be vulnerable to. The cazadores will bring their own countermeasures, Bella notes, examining the equipment. We need to stay ahead of their technological curve. Together, they install the jammers at strategic points around the property, integrating them into the existing security framework. As they work, Bella outlines her defensive strategy. Zone Echo will maintain passive surveillance, no active emissions that could be detected. Zone Sierra shifts to infrared and acoustic monitoring, minimizing electronic signatures. Zone Tango establishes the containment perimeter with physical rather than electronic measures. Jim studies the deployment pattern. You're anticipating electronic warfare. It's what I would do, Bella confirms. Target the system's communication first, then exploit the coverage gaps. As darkness falls, they complete the preparations. Bella's property appears quiet from the outside, an isolated ranch preparing for night. Only careful observation would reveal the subtle defensive measures. Passive infrared triggers disguised as landscape lighting, acoustic sensors hidden in decorative elements, physical barriers that could be remotely activated. They'll come. At night, Jim observes, checking his weapon. Probably between 2 and 4 a.m., lowest point in human alertness cycles. I know, Bella replies. That's why I'll be waiting at 1. Jim hesitates before departing. I can stay, provide backup. Bella shakes her head. Better if you coordinate with Sheriff Delgado. If this escalates beyond my property line, we'll need official response. After Jim leaves, Bella moves through her final preparation ritual, a methodical process developed through decades of combat operations. Equipment check, communications verification, weapons inspection, contingency review. Her movements carry the disciplined efficiency of someone who has faced life or death situations countless times. She settles in her tactical operations center, a reinforced room beneath the main house with direct access to all security systems. Multiple screens display feeds from around the property, while specialized equipment monitors electromagnetic signatures, thermal patterns, and acoustic anomalies. Midnight passes with no activity. The security network continues its silent vigilance, processing environmental data through sophisticated algorithms designed to distinguish between natural desert phenomena and human intrusion. At 1:17 a.m., Zone Echo registers the first anomaly, faint electromagnetic signals on the outer perimeter, consistent with tactical communications equipment operating in burst transmission mode to avoid detection. The signature appears briefly, then vanishes, characteristic of specialized military equipment. "They're here," Bella murmurs, shifting to full alert. She doesn't activate additional systems or change her defensive posture. Any deviation from normal patterns might alert the approaching force that they've been detected. Instead, she watches through passive sensors as 4 thermal signatures appear at the extreme range of her detection network. They move with exceptional discipline, maintaining precise spacing, utilizing terrain features for concealment, advancing with the methodical patience of experienced operators. The cazadores have arrived, and they're approaching exactly as Bella anticipated, from the northwest, using the canyon ridgeline for cover during the deepest part of night. Their approach vector suggests detailed intelligence on her security layout, avoiding the most obvious detection zones. What they don't realize is that Bella has been continuously adapting her security since the first encounter, anticipating precisely this level of sophistication. The areas they believe are blind spots contain her newest sensors, disguised as ordinary landscape features or buried beneath the surface. Bella monitors their approach without intervention, gathering intelligence on their tactics and equipment. Through specialized acoustic sensors, she can detect fragments of their communications, encrypted but revealing in their pattern and discipline. Position Alpha established. Thermal scan negative. Proceeding to Phase 2. Professional operators communicating with minimal transmission time using precise terminology. Not cartel thugs, but trained military personnel executing a planned operation. The leader signals with hand gestures visible through Bella's night vision system. 2 operators deploy what appear to be specialized electronic countermeasure devices, equipment designed to detect and neutralize security systems like hers. This is the moment Bella has been waiting for. As they activate their equipment, her system captures its electronic signature, analyzing its capabilities and limitations, knowledge that will prove crucial in the coming confrontation. The countermeasure devices emit a sequenced pattern of electromagnetic pulses, a sophisticated attempt to identify and disrupt security sensors without triggering alerts. Standard security systems would either be disabled or flood the area with false positives, creating confusion and vulnerability. Bella's network, however, recognizes the attack pattern and executes its pre-programmed response. Individual nodes appear to fail in sequence, creating the illusion of successful penetration, while the core system remains fully operational through isolated backup components. Security system compromised, one operator reports. Proceeding to Phase 3. The cazadores advance with increased confidence, believing they've neutralized Bella's primary defenses. They move toward the main property, their formations slightly relaxed. The critical vulnerability Bella has been patiently waiting to exploit. Zone Sierra, active countermeasures, she commands quietly. The security system responds with precision. Targeted electromagnetic pulses disable the cazadores' communication equipment without affecting their weapons, a crucial distinction. Simultaneously, infrared strobes activate in specific patterns designed to disrupt night vision equipment. Without providing visible illumination, the effect is immediate and disorienting. The operators freeze suddenly without communications and with compromised vision equipment. Their tactical advantage evaporates in seconds, replaced by confusion and disorientation. Delta Team, communications check, the leader calls out, receiving no response from his team. He switches to hand signals, but the infrared interference renders them ineffective. Bella observes their reaction with professional assessment. These are experienced operators. They quickly recognize the technological attack and begin adaptive countermeasures, reaching for backup equipment and reverting to predetermined protocols for communications failure. Zone Tango, containment protocol. Bella commands. The final phase of her defensive system activates. Specially designed barriers deploy from concealed positions, sectioning the property into controlled zones that separate the cazadores from each other. Not obvious walls, but strategically positioned obstacles that funnel movement along predetermined paths. The cazadores find themselves channeled into increasingly restricted space, their formation broken, their coordinated approach transformed into individual navigation challenges, exactly the scenario their training seeks to avoid. Zone Echo, targeted illumination, Bella directs. Strategic lighting activates across the property, not dramatic floodlights, but precisely positioned illumination that creates a mosaic of light and shadow. Areas where cazadores are positioned become subtly highlighted, while approach routes to the main house remain in darkness. Bella moves from her tactical center, rifle secured but accessible, sidearm drawn. She navigates through predetermined paths using her intimate knowledge of the property to maintain positional advantage. The first direct contact comes near the workshop. One cazador, separated from his team by the containment system, attempts to establish a defensive position. Through her enhanced optics, Bella can see his professional approach, seeking cover, establishing fields of fire, preparing for contingencies. Federal agent, Bella calls out, using the local law enforcement identification as tactical deception. Your position is surrounded, your communications compromised. Surrender your weapon. The cazador reacts with professional caution, assessing options, without panicked response. Identification, he demands in accented English. Border Tactical Response Unit, Bella responds, maintaining the deception. Your infiltration of U.S. territory has been monitored since you crossed at Nogales. Your associates are already in custody. This calculated misinformation achieves its purpose, creating uncertainty in a situation where the operator has limited intelligence due to communications failure. He must now calculate risk based on incomplete information, exactly the cognitive burden Bella intends to impose. Show yourself, he demands, seeking visual confirmation. Negative, Bella responds. Place your weapon on the ground, move 10 paces back, kneel with hands behind your head. The standoff extends as the operator calculates his options. Bella maintains her position, using the security system to track the other cazadores simultaneously. The separated team members are each encountering similar containment challenges. Their coordinated assault transformed into isolated individual situations. 3 minutes to comply, Bella adds, introducing time pressure to his decision-making process. After that, non-lethal countermeasures will be deployed. The operator makes his decision, carefully placing his weapon on the ground and following the instructed protocol. As a professional, he recognizes an untenable tactical position and preserves his options through compliance rather than futile resistance. Bella secures him efficiently, using restraints from her tactical gear. The operator studies her with professional assessment as she binds his hands. "You're not federal," he observes. "No," Bella confirms, "just a property owner who doesn't appreciate uninvited guests." "Military background," he notes, recognizing her movements and tactics. "Something like that." The second cazador proves more challenging. Trapped in the barn area by the containment system, he opts for aggressive response rather than cautious. Assessment. A flashbang grenade deploys, standard tactical equipment for creating disorientation before offensive action. Bella's security system detects the distinctive acoustic and light signature, automatically deploying countermeasures. Specialized sensors dampen the effect, while her tactical goggles compensate for the flash, leaving her operational while the cazador expects disorientation. The engagement is brief but technical, a close-quarters encounter between trained operators. Bella's experience in asymmetrical warfare proves decisive against the cazador's more conventional tactical approach. Within moments, the second operator is secured, his expression revealing professional recognition of superior tactical execution. "Ghost protocols," he mutters, using military terminology for specialized counterinsurgency techniques. "Your MARSOC." Bella neither confirms nor denies, focusing on securing his equipment. Impressive tactical gear including night vision systems, communications equipment, and specialized tools for defeating security systems. The remaining two cazadores present different challenges. The third, identifying the systematic neutralization of his team, attempts strategic withdrawal, a professional response to a compromised operation. Bella's containment system channels his retreat toward a predetermined interception point, where motion-activated countermeasures complicate his movement. The fourth operator, the team leader, demonstrates why the cazadores are the cartel's elite force. Recognizing the sophisticated nature of the defensive system, he adapts with exceptional skill, using countermeasures against the technology, exploiting microgaps in coverage, approaching the main house through a carefully plotted route that minimizes exposure. It's precisely the approach Bella anticipated from an elite operator, and she has prepared accordingly. As he reaches the house perimeter, thinking he's defeated the primary security layers, he encounters the final defensive measure, Bella herself, positioned with tactical advantage, weapon trained with professional precision. Impressive system, he acknowledges, freezing in place. Impressive approach, Bella responds, but ultimately predictable. We could continue this engagement, he suggests, professional rather than threatening. Uncertain outcome for both. Or you can recognize a tactical reality, Bella counters. Your team is neutralized, your mission compromised, your exfiltration routes monitored. The team leader considers this assessment with professional calculation. Acceptable terms? The same as your team. Surrender your equipment, withdraw from the territory. Take a message to Reyes. Copper Canyon is no longer viable for his operation. This negotiation between professionals, conducted with the clinical precision of tactical operators, concludes with the cazador making the calculated decision to preserve forces rather than pursue an objectively compromised mission. By dawn, the Cazadores' operation has been neutralized, their equipment confiscated, their tactical advantage eliminated. Not through dramatic confrontation, but through systematic security protocols executed with professional precision. Sheriff Delgado arrives with Jim as Bella finalizes the situation. The secured Cazadores prepared for transportation found these. Men attempting unauthorized entry, Bella reports formally. Delgado surveys the scene with professional assessment, noting the quality of the captured equipment and the disciplined bearing of the detainees. Special Forces background? He queries, examining their tactical gear. Former Mexican naval infantry, Bella confirms, now working private security for the cartel. You want to tell me how you managed to capture an elite tactical team single-handedly? Delgado presses. Bella glances toward her tablet where security. Feeds continue to monitor the property. Good security system. That's more than a security system, Delgado observes. That's military-grade counterinsurgency technology. It's whatever it needed to be tonight, Bella responds. As law enforcement secures the scene, Jim pulls Bella aside, his expression reflecting professional concern. Cazadores don't fail missions without consequences, he warns. The cartel will escalate again. I know, Bella acknowledges. But now we have their playbook, their equipment signatures, their tactical approach. Next time we'll be better prepared. Next time they'll send more than 4. Jim points out. That's what Phase 2 is for, Bella responds, her expression revealing nothing of the calculated response already forming in her mind. The county sheriff's office buzzes with unusual activity as Bella studies satellite imagery spread across the conference table. The captured Cazadores sit in separate interrogation rooms, their presence creating a mixture of tension and excitement. Among the deputies unused to handling high-value cartel operatives, Sheriff Delgado enters, closing the door behind him. Feds are sending a transport team, ETA 4 hours. Bella doesn't look up from the maps that outline Copper Canyon's topography. That's 3 hours too late for what I need. I'm already bending every regulation letting you in here. Delgado reminds her. These men are in federal custody, technically. You shouldn't be within a mile of them. Technically, Elena's grandson shouldn't be in cartel custody either, Bella replies, tracing a route on the map. But he is, and the 24-hour deadline is ticking. Delgado's expression shifts from professional frustration to personal concern. They took Miguel... when? During the coordinated strikes last night. Left a message saying they'll exchange him for me. Bella continues analyzing terrain features with methodical precision, her finger following drainage culverts and access roads that don't appear on standard maps. Delgado studies her, recognizing the controlled intensity of someone operating on specialized training rather than emotion. Despite the personal stakes of a child's abduction, you have a plan, he observes, one that probably crosses several jurisdictional and legal boundaries. I have the beginning of a plan, Bella corrects him, but I need information only the team leader can provide. Delgado weighs his options, professional duty battling against the reality of a child in mortal danger. 10 minutes. Off the record. I was never in the room. Commander Raul Vega sits handcuffed to the interrogation table, his bearings still, carrying military discipline despite his circumstances. He studies Bella with professional assessment as she enters. La operativa fantasma, Vega acknowledges. Your reputation was not exaggerated. Where's the boy? Bella asks without preamble. Vega's expression remains neutral. What boy? Miguel Sandoval, 13 years old, taken from his grandmother's ranch during your coordinated attack. That operation wasn't under my command. Vega responds carefully. The cazadores were assigned specifically to your property. Secondary targets were handled by regular enforcement teams. Bella notes the distinction, a professional distancing himself from what he considers less disciplined operations. Where would they take him? What location in the region serves as your primary detention facility? Vega considers his options. Understanding the dangerous territory this conversation enters. Providing information to enemies is a capital offense in cartel hierarchy. I'm already dead, Vega states matter-of-factly. The moment capture was reported, Rojas would have issued the order. My family will be relocated, my name erased. Unless Rojas himself falls, Bella suggests. Power shifts happen quickly in cartel structures when leadership fails. A flicker of calculation crosses Vega's face. The old mining operation serves as the primary forward base. Underground level, western section. That's where high-value leverage is processed. Bella absorbs this confirmation of her suspicions. Security protocols, 20 personnel minimum, rotating shifts. Former military comprising about half the force. Standard cartel thugs for the remainder. Vega leans forward slightly. Mendoza oversees the facility personally when high-value operations are active. They'll expect me to come alone, Bella notes. Standard. Exchange protocol, Vega confirms. They have no intention of exchanging the boy. The order is to eliminate both of you once you're secured. Rojas wants to make an example. Show what happens when someone organizes resistance. Bella nods, having anticipated this reality. One more question. Who specifically ordered targeting? A child, Rojas or Mendoza? Mendoza wouldn't make that decision independently. The authorization would come from Rojas directly. This final piece of information completes Bella's assessment. The operation has Rojas's personal attention and authorization, which means the cartel's regional commander will be monitoring developments closely. Outside the interrogation room, Bella finds Elena in heated discussion with Sheriff Delgado. I should be part of this, Elena insists. He's my grandson. This isn't a civilian operation, Delgado counters. This is a hostage situation involving armed cartel members, Bella interrupts. She's right, Elena. This goes beyond conventional response. Elena turns to Bella, frustration evident. These people took my grandson to get to you. I deserve to be involved in getting him back. There's a difference between involvement and tactical operations, Bella begins. I grew up on this border, Elena reminds her. I've been around cartels my entire life. I know how they operate, how they think. I speak their dialect of Spanish, not textbook military translation. Before Bella can formulate a response that balances tactical concerns with Elena's emotional needs, Jim arrives with two men Bella immediately recognizes. Former Marine Special Operators Mark Ramsey and David Chen, specialists in tactical operations and communications respectively. Called in some favors, Jim explains. Unofficially, of course. The arrival of experienced operators shifts the operational calculus. With proper tactical support, the linguistic and cultural expertise Elena offers becomes a more balanced consideration rather than an unacceptable risk. Forward observation only, Bella finally concedes. You follow orders exactly. Stay with the backup team and evacuate immediately if the situation degrades. Elena nods. Understanding this represents significant compromise from Bella. Agreed. The Kyle planning session transforms the sheriff's conference room into an impromptu tactical operations center. Satellite imagery, facility schematics, and intelligence reports cover every surface as Bella outlines the rescue operation. The mining complex has 3 access points, she explains, marking locations on the map. Main entrance is heavily guarded. Service tunnel here, lightly watched but less secured. Ventilation shaft on the eastern slope, smallest footprint. What's the extraction plan once we've confirmed the target's location? Chen asks, professional terminology replacing emotional. Language as the team focuses on operational parameters. 2-phase approach, Bella outlines. Phase 1. Elena appears at the main entrance, creating the impression of a desperate grandmother attempting negotiation, draws attention and resources forward. Phase 2. Primary entry team accesses the service tunnel during the distraction, moves to the detention area using the intelligence we've gathered. Sheriff Delgado, listening silently until now, raises a critical concern. You're talking about a cross-border paramilitary operation against a cartel stronghold. I can't officially sanction this. Understood, Bella acknowledges. Your official position is that you're investigating a missing persons case through appropriate channels. What private citizens do independently is beyond your control or knowledge. Delgado's expression indicates he recognizes the thin legal fiction being established, plausible deniability that might not withstand serious scrutiny, but provides the minimum cover necessary for his position. The boy's safety is the priority, he concedes. Just try to keep collateral damage to a minimum. These jurisdictional nightmares take years to resolve. As darkness falls, the operation moves to the staging area, an abandoned ranger station. 3 miles from the mining complex, Bella conducts final equipment checks while the team undergoes preparation. Each operator carries specialized gear tailored to their role. Chen with communications equipment designed to penetrate the facility's security, Ramsey with breaching tools and tactical weapons, Jim coordinating the external support elements. Intelligence suggests Miguel is being held in the western section. Bella briefs them, reviewing thermal imaging of the facility captured by surveillance drones. Consistent with Vega's information, heat signatures indicate approximately 18 personnel currently on site, with vehicle movements suggesting shift change at 200 hours. Elena studies the images with intensity. That building there, that's new construction, not part of the original mining operation. Bella zooms in on the indicated structure. How certain are you? Completely. My father worked that mine for 20 years. That addition wasn't there during operations. This new intelligence shifts tactical considerations. Could be their command center or detention facility, Bella notes. Civilian construction rather than mining standards would be easier to penetrate. The team adapts the plan accordingly, redistributing resources to focus on the newly identified structure. Elena's cultural knowledge proves valuable as they finalize preparations, identifying patterns in guard rotations and security posture that suggest vulnerabilities in the cartel's operational discipline. They'll expect negotiation to happen in Spanish, Elena notes, but the command structure communicates in a specific dialect from Sinaloa. I can recognize key phrases that indicate their intent before they move. Bella incorporates this intelligence into the operational framework, assigning Elena a communications monitoring role that leverages her expertise while maintaining tactical separation from direct engagement. Jim reviews the final operational schematic, Timeline from initiation to extraction? 15 minutes maximum, Bella responds. Beyond that, their reinforcement protocol will activate. According to Vega, they maintain a quick reaction force at a separate location 7 minutes away. The team synchronizes communications equipment and finalizes contingency protocols. Despite the emotional stakes, the operational atmosphere remains disciplined, focused on methodical execution rather than emotional response. As the time approaches, Eleanor prepares for her role. Though not military trained, her determination provides its own form of strength. Your only responsibility is distraction, Bella reminds her. Engage in negotiation, appear desperate but cooperative. When you receive the signal, withdraw immediately to the extraction point. No heroics. I understand, Elena responds. Just bring my grandson home. At precisely 00:30 hours, Operation Execution begins. Elena approaches the main gate of the mining complex in her pickup truck, playing the role of desperate grandmother. Perfectly. Her voice carries clearly in the night air as she calls out in Spanish, demanding to speak with whoever is in charge regarding Miguel. "I've brought what she wants," Elena shouts, referencing Bella without naming her directly. "Please, let me see my grandson first." The distraction works as intended. Thermal surveillance confirms guard personnel shifting toward the main entrance, communications chatter increasing as they respond to the unexpected development. Bella, Ramsey, and Chen approach the service tunnel under Jim's remote guidance. They move with practiced stealth that speaks to years of special operations experience, utilizing terrain features for concealment and maintaining constant situational awareness. The service tunnel security proves minimal. A single guard positioned, carelessly attention diverted toward the commotion at the main entrance. Ramsey neutralizes the threat with silent efficiency, a specialized hold that renders the guard unconscious without noise or permanent injury. Inside the complex, the team transitions to interior movement protocols, minimizing sound, maintaining tactical spacing, communicating through hand signals. Chen deploys specialized surveillance equipment, micro cameras that transmit real-time imagery to their tactical displays, allowing them to clear corners and identify threats without exposure. The detention area appears exactly where Elena indicated. Western section, new construction. Through thermal imaging, they detect 3 heat signatures inside, one smaller than the others. Miguel. Location confirmed, Bella reports through the secured communication system. 3 tangos, 1 primary target, positive ID. Extraction planning shifts to active phase. The team positions themselves for coordinated entry, preparing to breach the detention area with maximized efficiency and minimized risk to the hostage. The first direct confrontation occurs in the corridor leading to the detention area. 2 guards, more alert than others, detect movement despite the team's precautions. The engagement is brief but concerning. These aren't ordinary cartel soldiers, but trained security professionals with tactical response training. Security elements. Tier 1, Ramsey observes after they secure the guards. Mendoza isn't taking chances. He's expecting us, Bella confirms, noting the quality of equipment and positioning. This assessment proves accurate as they approach the detention area. Through surveillance equipment, they observe new arrivals entering the secure zone, including Javier Mendoza himself, accompanied by his personal security detail. The asset is now high value, Mendoza instructs the detention guards, unaware his words are being monitored. Rojas wants confirmation of Reyes's approach before proceeding. The tactical situation has evolved beyond the initial parameters, with Mendoza personally overseeing the detention. Standard extraction becomes significantly more complicated. More concerning, his reference to proceeding suggests an accelerated timeline that may not align with the original 24-hour ultimatum. Bella adapts immediately, shifting to contingency protocols developed for high-risk extractions. They bypass standard entry points in favor of a more direct approach through a maintenance access identified in the building schematics. Mendoza, demonstrating the situational awareness that has made him Rojas's most valued lieutenant, recognizes the tactical shift immediately when perimeter alarms trigger. "It's Reyes," he announces to his security team. "Secure the asset, prepare for facility breach." The confrontation Bella has anticipated since the cartel first threatened her property is now imminent. What began as territorial intimidation has escalated to a direct engagement between specialized operators. The Marine Special Operator against the cartel's most sophisticated security apparatus. The most dangerous phase of the operation has begun, with her team now committed to direct engagement against Mendoza's security forces. The cartel's decision to target an innocent child has transformed what began as defense of property into something far more consequential. A direct challenge to the cartel's operational capacity in the region. What happens in the next few minutes will determine not just Miguel's fate, but the future security of the entire Copper Canyon community, and whether Bella's reputation as the shadow operative will become a whispered legend or a tragic footnote in the ongoing border conflict. The shadow operative darkness envelops the mining complex as backup generators struggle to compensate for the targeted power disruption Chen has engineered. Emergency lighting casts eerie red glows through corridors, creating disorienting patterns of light and shadow that Bella's team exploits with practiced efficiency. Inside the detention area, Mendoza barks orders to his security detail. Move the boy to secondary location. Secure all access points. Find the source of the power disruption. Miguel Sandoval sits handcuffed to a metal chair, his 13-year-old frame appearing smaller against the harsh industrial backdrop. Despite obvious fear, his expression remains defiant, a child attempting to project courage in a situation beyond his comprehension. "They're coming for me," Miguel states with forced confidence. "My grandmother knows people." Mendoza ignores the boy's bravado, focusing on security deployment. His radio crackles with fragmented reports, communications compromised by interference that isn't accidental. Someone with specialized equipment is actively disrupting their coordination. "Sir, we've lost contact with perimeter teams 3 and 4, a security officer reports. "Establish visual confirmation of all positions," Mendoza orders. This isn't random, it's a coordinated breach. As 2 guards move to transfer Miguel, a controlled explosion resonates from the adjacent corridor, a tactical breach charge deployed with precision by Ramsey to create both physical access and psychological disorientation. Before the guards can react, specialized flashbang grenades roll into the room, modified versions that Bella's team has adapted for asymmetric operations. The devices deploy with synchronized efficiency, creating a choreographed pattern of sensory overload that disorients anyone not wearing the team's specialized protective gear. "Federal agents!" Bella announces in Spanish, utilizing tactical deception. As they enter the detention area, on the ground, Hands visible, the security personnel, trained but momentarily overwhelmed by the sensory assault, respond with professional caution rather than panicked resistance. They recognize the tactical disadvantage and make the calculated decision to preserve their options through temporary compliance. Mendoza, demonstrating the situational awareness that has made him valuable to the cartel, recognizes the tactical disadvantage immediately. His security detail has been neutralized with alarming efficiency, leaving him isolated against multiple operators. Las Sombras, he acknowledges, using the Spanish designation for special operations units. Impressive response time. Secure the primary, Bella directs Chen, maintaining her cover as federal law enforcement. Secondary targets contained. Chen moves to Miguel, cutting the restraints with practiced efficiency while maintaining protective position. The boy's eyes widen with recognition as he spots Bella, not a faceless federal agent, but the woman whose security systems had become legendary in local discussions. "Ms. Reyes," he whispers, confusion evident. "Stay with him," Bella instructs Chen. "Extraction Protocol Delta." Chen nods, understanding the command refers to their predetermined exfiltration route designed specifically for civilian protection. He positions himself to shield Miguel, tactical awareness never wavering, despite the added complexity of protecting a non-combatant. Mendoza, now secured by Ramsey, maintains his professional demeanor. "You've miscalculated, Reyes. This facility contains 30 cartel soldiers. You're significantly outnumbered. 22 active," Bella corrects him. 5 are unconscious. 3 are zip-tied in the North Corridor. 2 abandoned their posts when the breach occurred. The precision of this assessment visibly unsettles Mendoza, revealing how thoroughly his security has been compromised by Bella's. "Team, even if you secure the boy, you'll never exit the complex," Mendoza counters. "Rojas has authorized maximum response. Reinforcements are already en route." Bella approaches methodically, zip-tying Mendoza's hands with professional efficiency. "Extract the primary," she commands Chen, who immediately initiates movement with Miguel toward their predetermined escape route. "This changes nothing," Mendoza states with cold calculation. "Rojas will still eliminate every ranch in the canyon, starting with yours." "That assumes Rojas remains in position to give orders," Bella replies, the implication clear. This operation represents more than a simple extraction. It's a direct challenge to cartel authority in the region. Miguel, now free from restraints, but still processing the rapid tactical developments around him, remains close to Chen, as instructed. The operator guides him with practiced precision, maintaining protective coverage while moving toward the service tunnel. "Follow my footsteps." "Exactly," Chen instructs the boy quietly. "Move when I move, stop when I stop, understand?" Miguel nods, adrenaline providing clarity despite his recent ordeal. "You work with Ms. Reyes?" "Something like that," Chen replies, focusing on tactical movement rather than conversation. "Stay close." The first exfiltration challenge appears at the junction between detention areas and the service tunnel. 2 cartel operators, responding to the breach alarm, establish blocking positions with professional efficiency. Chen, recognizing the tactical problem, signals to Miguel to maintain position while he addresses the threat. The engagement happens with choreographed precision. Chen deploying a specialized distraction device that creates momentary sensory overload for the cartel operators while he neutralizes their position with non-lethal but decisively effective close-quarters techniques. Clear. he signals to Miguel, who follows with remarkable composure for his age. The boy's border upbringing has clearly prepared him for crisis situations beyond what most children experience. Meanwhile, Bella and Ramsey secure the detention area, gathering intelligence materials while maintaining tactical control of Mendoza and his security detail. The cartel lieutenant watches with professional assessment as Bella downloads data from the facility's computer systems. "You're not just here for the boy," he observes. "This is intelligence gathering. Multiple objectives," Bella confirms without elaboration, securing a hard drive containing what appears to be operational data. "Rojas will take this personally," Mendoza warns. "Not just business anymore." "It became personal when you targeted a child," Bella responds. "Extraction team status report. Primary package secured. Proceeding to extraction point Alpha." Chen responds through their communication system. "Minimal resistance encountered." Outside the facility, Jim coordinates with Elena, who has successfully maintained her distraction at the main entrance. The grandmother's performance has been remarkable, a perfect blend of emotional distress and practical negotiation that has kept the main security force engaged at the front gate. "Package secured," Jim informs her through their secure channel. "Transition to Phase 2. Elena acknowledges with a predetermined phrase about needing time to consider their demands, expertly disengaging from the negotiation without triggering suspicion. She returns to her vehicle with the practiced movements of someone who has rehearsed this scenario multiple times. As Chen and Miguel approach the service tunnel exit, the tactical situation evolves. Thermal imaging reveals 4 heat signatures converging on their position, the quick reaction force Vega had mentioned arriving earlier than anticipated. "QRF inbound to your position," Jim alerts Chen through their communication system. 4 tangos, tactically positioned. Chen adjusts immediately, transitioning from standard extraction to contingency protocol. "Understood." Executing alternate route Bravo, he guides Miguel away from the service tunnel, accessing a maintenance shaft identified during pre-operation planning. The boy follows with impressive adaptability, maintaining noise discipline and positional awareness beyond his years. "My grandmother?" Miguel whispers as they navigate the narrow passage. "Safe," Chen assures him. "She's waiting at the extraction point." Inside the facility, Bella completes her intelligence gathering as Ramsey maintains security control. The tactical timeline is accelerating. They've been on target 7 minutes, approaching the outer limit of their planned operation duration. Extraction. Her team is diverting to Route Bravo, Jim updates through communications. "Primary QRF identified and tracking." "Copy," Bella acknowledges. "We're 30 seconds from extraction." Mendoza studies Bella with professional assessment as she prepares to depart. "You've prepared for this extensively. This isn't a reactive operation. Intelligence preparation of the battlefield," Bella confirms, using military terminology he would recognize. "Standard procedure for military operations, not civilian security contractors," Mendoza notes. "You're still operating as if you're in uniform, Reyes." Bella secures the intelligence materials without responding to his observation. Ramsey, prepare for extraction. As they move to depart, facility alarms finally activate, delayed response indicating how thoroughly Bella's team has compromised security systems. Radio chatter increases as cartel forces attempt to coordinate response to an extraction already in progress. Primary exit compromised, Jim reports through their communication system. security forces converging on the service tunnel. Bella processes this information instantly, adapting to changed conditions. Initiating contingency route, all elements proceed to extraction point Charlie. The team transitions with practiced efficiency to their tertiary extraction plan. Movement through emergency maintenance passages identified during planning. These secondary routes are unlikely to be covered by standard security protocols or known to conventional cartel forces. Outside, Elena has successfully disengaged from the main entrance security and repositioned to the alternate extraction point. Her vehicle waits with engine running, positioned for immediate departure once the team arrives with Miguel. Chen and the boy emerge from a ventilation access point 300 meters from the facility perimeter. They move with tactical discipline through the darkness, utilizing terrain features for concealment while maintaining direct route to the extraction point. Movement at your 2 o'clock, Jim alerts through communications. Single vehicle approaching your position. Chen immediately directs Miguel to cover, positioning himself between the approaching threat and the boy. The vehicle, a cartel security patrol responding to perimeter alerts, passes within 50 meters of their position without detecting them, a testament to Chen's expertise in evasion techniques. Clear, he reports once the threat has passed, resuming movement to extraction point. Bella and Ramsey, meanwhile, encounter their own extraction challenge. The maintenance passage they've chosen intersects with a security patrol route, forcing tactical decision between engagement and alternate routing. 2 tangos, standard patrol pattern, 30-second interval, Ramsey assesses, observing the guard rotation through specialized optics. We breach on next interval, Bella decides. Non-lethal. Approach. Minimum signature. When the patrol passes their position, they execute with synchronized precision, neutralizing the guards with specialized techniques that render them unconscious without creating noise or permanent injury. The engagement lasts less than 10 seconds. Professional efficiency, eliminating the threat before it can alert broader security forces. 10 minutes on target, Ramsey notes as they secure the guards. QRF will have full deployment by now. Agreed, Bella responds. Transitioning to accelerated extraction, they increase pace through the maintenance tunnels, balancing speed against tactical security. Every second increases risk as the cartel forces organize more comprehensive response, yet rushed movement creates vulnerability through reduced situational awareness. Outside the facility, Chen and Miguel reach the extraction point where Elena waits with barely contained emotion. Abuela, Miguel calls softly as they approach. Elena embraces her grandson with fierce protectiveness, checking him for injuries with the practiced concern of someone who has raised children in dangerous environments. Are you hurt? Did they touch you? I'm okay, Miguel assures her, adolescent toughness battling with emotional relief. Chen maintains security focus despite the family reunion, positioning himself to observe approaching threats while coordinating with Jim through their communication system. Primary package secured at extraction point Charlie, he reports, awaiting remaining team elements. Jim's response carries tension not previously present in their communications. Be advised, significant movement at the facility main entrance. Vehicle convoy departing, heading south toward your position. Chen processes this intelligence, recognizing the tactical implication. They're expanding the search perimeter. Timeline to intercept: 3 minutes based on current movement speed. Chen makes the tactical decision that operational protocols have prepared him for. Evacuating primary package immediately. No waiting. He turns to Elena and Miguel. We need to move now. The remaining team has alternate extraction methods. Elena hesitates, concern for Bella evident. But what about they have contingencies, Chen assures her. The priority is getting Miguel to safety. Professional discipline overrides personal concern as Elena nods her agreement. They board her vehicle, Chen taking the driver's position to utilize his tactical driving skills if pursuit develops. As they depart, Bella and Ramsey emerge from the maintenance access, having successfully navigated the facility's internal security. Primary. Package extracted, Jim informs them through communications. Chen has initiated immediate evacuation due to expanding security response. Good call, Bella acknowledges. Where's our situation? Vehicle approaching your position from the north. Friendly. ETA 30 seconds. As promised, a nondescript pickup truck appears at the rendezvous point, Jim at the wheel. The remaining team members board with practiced efficiency, transitioning from extraction to evacuation mode as they depart the operation area. Elena and Miguel, Bella asks once they're moving. Cleared the area 5 minutes ago, Jim confirms. Sheriff Delgado is meeting them at the secondary safe house. Bella nods, professional satisfaction at operational success tempered by recognition that this extraction represents escalation rather than resolution. The cartel will respond to this direct challenge with increased aggression, transforming what began as property intimidation into personal vendetta. Intel secured? Jim asks, noting the hard drive and documents Bella retrieved. Operational data, communications protocols, distribution network, she confirms. Everything we need for Phase 2. Inside the mining facility, Mendoza supervises. Damage assessment with cold professionalism. The extraction team has departed, leaving minimal casualties, but maximum disruption to security systems and operational integrity. Sweep the entire facility, he orders his security chief. I want to know exactly what they accessed, what they took, and how they bypassed our systems. His phone rings, the dedicated line for communicating with Rojas. Mendoza answers with appropriate deference. They extracted the boy and took operational data, he reports without preamble. Professional team, military precision. Reyes was personally involved. Rojas's response comes with dangerous calm. This woman has now directly challenged our authority in the region. Make an example of her that no one will forget. Additional resources required, Mendoza suggests. Whatever you need, Rojas authorizes. This is no longer about securing territory. This is about organizational respect. As dawn breaks over Copper Canyon, the extraction team convenes at the designated safe house. Miguel has been reunited with his family under Sheriff Delgado's protective custody, while Elena provides details of the cartel's operational patterns observed during her distraction role. They were expecting negotiation, she reports, but they had no intention of releasing Miguel. I overheard guards discussing transport plans for afterward. Bella integrates this intelligence with data recovered from the facility. Confirmation of what Vega told us. The exchange was designed as a trap. The team reviews operational outcomes with professional assessment. Primary objectives achieved, hostage rescued, intelligence gathered, minimal casualties inflicted or sustained. But strategic implications extend beyond tactical success. They'll retaliate, Jim notes, stating the obvious. This was a direct challenge to their authority. I'm counting on it, Bella responds, reviewing the intelligence materials retrieved from the facility. But now we have what we need to take the fight to them. She activates the central display in their improvised command center, revealing comprehensive data on the cartel's regional operations, distribution networks, command structures, communication protocols, and most significantly, the location of Rojas's primary operational base. Phase 1 was defensive, Bella explains. Protecting our community, demonstrating that Copper Canyon won't be easily conquered. Her finger traces a route on the digital map, highlighting a compound 50 miles south of the border. Phase 2 is offensive, taking the fight directly to the source. The team exchanges glances, recognizing this represents significant escalation. Beyond property defense or hostage rescue, Bella is proposing direct action against the cartel's command infrastructure, an operation with strategic rather than merely tactical implications. That's deep in cartel territory, Ramsey observes. Heavy security, unknown reinforcement capabilities, and completely unexpected, Bella counters. They're anticipating defensive posture, not offensive operations. The intelligence we've gathered provides everything we need: security protocols, personnel rotations, communications frequencies. She brings up satellite imagery of Rojas's compound, highlighting defensive positions and approach vectors with the practiced assessment of someone who has spent decades planning similar operations. One surgical strike at their command structure accomplishes what months of defensive operations couldn't: complete disruption of their expansion capacity. Sheriff Delgado, who has joined them after securing Miguel's family, shakes his head with professional concern. This goes way beyond civilian security operations, Bella. You're talking about a military strike against a cartel stronghold. I'm talking about finishing what they started, Bella responds. They've demonstrated their willingness to target children, destroy property, and terrorize an entire community. Defensive measures only buy time. The sheriff studies the operational data with the practiced eye of someone with military background. Even if I agreed with your assessment, this requires resources beyond what we can access without official sanction. That's why we won't be operating as civilians, Bella reveals, bringing up a new set of documentation on the main display. These are federal authorization codes for a joint task force operation. Limited duration, specific operational parameters, full deniability for local authorities. Jim examines the documentation with surprise. How did you get these? I still have contacts in the system, Bella explains. People who understand that bureaucratic response timelines don't match tactical realities on the ground. The authorization is legitimate, but compartmentalized. 24-hour window, minimal footprint, maximum deniability. The team processes this revelation with professional assessment. The authorization transforms what would have been an illegal cross-border operation into a sanctioned military action, limited in scope but legitimate in authority. Timeline? Ramsey asks. Professional focus replacing ethical concerns now that legal authorization has been established. 12 hours for preparation. Execution at 0200 tomorrow, Bella responds. Small team insertion, targeted objective, clean extraction. We're not eliminating the entire cartel, just removing the specific leadership elements targeting our community. She brings up personnel files on the main display. Rojas, Mendoza, and key lieutenants, identified through the intelligence gathered from the mining facility. Surgical removal of these command elements creates organizational chaos that will take months to resolve. During that time, pressure on Copper Canyon disappears as succession conflicts consume their attention. The tactical logic is undeniable, even to Sheriff Delgado with his law enforcement perspective. Removing command elements would create exactly the operational disruption needed to protect the community, while formal law enforcement processes develop more comprehensive responses. If, and that's a significant if, this federal authorization is legitimate. I can't officially know about the operation, Delgado states carefully, but I can ensure local resources don't interfere with unspecified federal activities in the region during the operational window. Bella nods, understanding his position. That's all we need. Operational security requires compartmentalization anyway. As the team transitions to planning mode, Elena approaches Bella with quiet determination. Miguel is safe, she says. My family owes you more than we can repay. No debt, Bella responds. The community protects its own. Elena studies her with newfound understanding. The stories about you, about what you did in the military, they weren't exaggerated, were they? Bella neither confirms nor denies, maintaining operational security, even with someone who has proven their courage and reliability. Get your family somewhere safe for the next 48 hours, she advises instead. After that, things should be considerably different in Copper Canyon. The shadow operative. In the final hours before the operation, Bella reviews every detail with her team. The intelligence gathered from Mendoza's facility provides the perfect blueprint for their surgical strike against Rojas's compound. With federal authorization codes securing their mission's legitimacy, they prepare to take the fight directly to the cartel's leadership. Under cover of darkness, the team infiltrates Rojas's heavily guarded compound. Using the cartel's own security protocols against them, they navigate through defensive layers with practiced precision. When they reach the command center, Rojas himself is caught completely off guard, never expecting the shadow operative would bring the fight to his doorstep. The operation unfolds with military efficiency. Key leadership captured, intelligence secured, and the cartel's command structure dismantled without a single civilian casualty. By dawn, federal authorities arrived to take custody of Rojas and his lieutenants. The evidence Bella's team gathered, ensuring they faced justice through proper legal channels. Back in Copper Canyon, the community begins rebuilding. The ranchers implement permanent security measures based on Bella's training, transforming from vulnerable targets into a coordinated network that will never again be seen as easy prey. Sheriff Delgado oversees the official transition as federal. Task forces establish permanent presence in the region. You've given this community something more valuable than security, he tells Bella. You've given them their dignity back. For Bella, success manifests in returning to the peaceful routine of ranch life. The cartel came to intimidate a lone woman, to threaten her home and claim her land for their smuggling corridor. Instead, they encountered the legendary Shadow, operative whose specialized skills and determination not only protected her property, but liberated an entire community from fear. If you enjoyed the Shadow Operative story, make sure to subscribe for more tales of courage, strategy, and justice. Hit that subscribe button now. Our next story drops tomorrow, and trust me, you won't want to miss it.